This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Welcome to Eagles Checkdown right here on the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, bringing you approximately 5 minutes of Eagles news, notes, and opinions every single day. And we're going to dive right into it today, talking the Eagles and Jalen Hurts after their big victory in Brazil in Week 1, 34-29. Now, there's a lot of negative connotations, narratives, and discussions going around about Jalen Hurts and the Week 1 performance. Even though the Eagles won, even though Jalen Hurts went 20 of 34 for 278 yards and threw 2 touchdowns, a lot of Eagles Nation is zoned in and focused solely on the 2 interceptions, the 2 botched snaps, one on a shotgun formation, Cam Jurgens fall on that, and one on the tush push on the goal line there. And I'm here to talk to you about the stats that show encouraging signs that Jalen Hurts is actually doing better already through just 1 week in this new Eagles offense led by Kellen Moore, the new offense coordinator, than he did do in 2023. Think about this. Now, after Dak Prescott signed his huge 4-year, $240 million contract, Jalen Hurts is now the 9th highest paid quarterback in the NFL based off of annual average salary. 9th. Pretty much a steal of a deal. 4 of the 8 quarterbacks ahead of him did not win their football games. Only one, Tua, threw for more yards than Jalen Hurts with 338 yards. Yes, he had the turnovers, 3 of them. 2 of them were really his fault, the 2 interceptions, and we'll talk about them in a second. But only 8 quarterbacks. He was one of only 8 quarterbacks to throw for 2 touchdowns or more in Week 1. Jalen Hurts is learning with a new center. Jalen Hurts has a new offensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts has a new running back in Saquon Barkley. And Jalen Hurts was able to go out there, not against a slouch defense, a very stout defense of the Green Bay Packers in Brazil on some pretty crappy turf, and go out there and put out an excellent performance. And I'm going to give you some more stats here to back this up. I'm just think about this. Jalen Hurts, I gave you his stats a little bit more detailed, 58.8%, 278 yards, the 2 touchdowns, obviously the 2 picks. Dak Prescott, 100 yards less than almost, 179 yards. Slight higher, 59.4%, only 1 touchdown. Trevor Lawrence threw for 57% completion percentage, 162 yards, only 1 touchdown. Hell, Joe Burrow didn't even throw for 165 yards. And we're criticizing Jalen Hurts massively because of those 2 interceptions. We're not looking at the good as Eagles Nation. And I know Jalen Hurts and the Eagles broke our hearts last year with the collapse that they went through towards the end of the season. Those last 6 games of the season or so were just atrocious. But let's focus on the fact that there was a lot of bad quarterback play this week in the NFL, in Week 1 of the NFL. Let's look at some other numbers that just show how much better Jalen Hurts actually truly was in Week 1 versus 2023. Let's look at Hurts. One thing he can't do supposedly is throw against the blitz. In 2023, he had a 61.5% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Well, Week 1, he threw for a 75% completion percentage against the blitz, one of those touchdowns against the blitz. He had a 151.6 quarterback rating. Only Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. I know. I understand. That's funny. Only Baker Mayfield was better than him. Jalen Hurts with motion, 15 of 21, 212 yards, and those 2 touchdowns. The new aspect of the Kellen Moore offense, 66% of the plays with pre-snap motion compared to 35% in 2023, obviously paid huge dividends. And this is only week 1. Without motion, he was only 5 of 13 for 66 yards, and those 2 INTs came when there was no pre-snap motion. Another thing Jalen Hurts doesn't do well, supposedly, is throw from the pocket. He was the 5th best quarterback in the NFL in week 1, throwing from the pocket with 116 quarterback ranking. Baker was better. Josh Allen was better. Derek Carr was better, but I think anybody that goes up against the Carolina Panthers will be pretty darn good. And Tua had a better quarterback rating from the pocket. So all these numbers are telling us exactly what the start of this 2024 Eagles season can be like. But Eagles Nation is so dead focused, and some of the Eagles media is so dead focused on those 2 interceptions. And yes, those 2 interceptions, especially the second one, throwing across his body into the end zone. Jalen Hurts has got to be better. He's got to clean that up. I mean, Nick Sirianni even spoke on Monday in his press conference and said, basically, you got to take what the defense gives you. You can't force the ball in those situations. But then he complimented Jalen Hurts, saying, well, Jalen Hurts does have that one strong trait of being short memory. He has a short memory. If he makes a mistake, he forgets about it. He never gets too high, never gets too low. And that's a pretty darn good thing. Considering that, again, Cam Jurgens, new center, Kellen Moore, new offense coordinator, didn't play in the preseason, and Nick Sirianni did address that in his presser on Monday as well, probably won't change his preseason philosophy of not playing the starters on offense. That's okay. But all these stats I've given you, and I want to shout out my man Anthony DeBona from Pro Football Network, DeBona PFN on Twitter. A lot of these stats came from him. I researched them over a couple different places, but a lot of these stats came from Anthony DeBona's article Monday morning. All these stats I've given you here in the last 5 minutes are not things we should be looking at negatively with Jalen Hurts. We should be looking at it in a positive light, looking at it that Jalen Hurts is making progress from 2023. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. But it was a strong, solid baseline in week 1 against a great team on a terrible turf, traveling 9.5, 10 hours down to Brazil for the first NFL game in Brazil. All these things summed up tell us that the future in 2024 for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles is extremely bright and can only get better as time goes on. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel. This is the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network. We're going to be dropping these episodes, these little short 5 to 7 minute videos every single morning. You can catch them on the way to work. You can catch them in the afternoon. You catch them on your lunch break, when you're getting your cup of coffee, whenever. We're going to try to keep them to 5 to 10 minutes long every single time. But if you want to catch a more long-form episode from me, linked below of this episode is Trending in the AM, my personal morning show Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. live. We take 200, 300 comments. We give you an opportunity to have your voice and opinion heard. So I would appreciate you clicking the link below, subscribing to my YouTube channel, and tuning in live, because it's the only morning show in Philadelphia where your opinions actually matter. Guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Birds.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
And bubbles up to you.